Wake up, weirdos. Take off your CPAPs. Take out your mouthpieces. Take off your blindfolds. Put on your headphones and get ready. Oh, yeah. It's time. Patriot Podcast brought to you by Charlie's Chewies.
Alrighty then. We are back. And we're better than ever. You know, it's been a hell of a time here. I'm trying to get my full screen up. There it is. There it is. Welcome to the Patriot Podcast, episode 1. This is the first of what I intend to be a career of doing weekly podcasts that you can find here on YouTube. I'm going to be streaming at least once a week. Goal is to get it up to at least 2 times a week. Right now I'm authoring a kid's book. I'm working on this podcast. And yeah, so let's just talk about the goals for this podcast. The number one goal for this podcast is to connect with the heartbeat of the country. And the goal to do, or the way that I envision doing that, is by interviewing the folks that I consider the people who make the gears of this country run. And that is, you know, it could be an insurance agent. It could be a local family physician. It could be a dentist. It could be a police officer, a firefighter, could be a veteran, could be a current military member. You know, maybe even a politician, because we got the elections coming up. So midterm elections. But we are not going to be your gossip spreader when it comes to politicians and politics and stuff. I have a very upbeat, positive way of looking at things. And so that's the perspective that I'm going to be taking, is pulling out the good from every person that I meet. And so that's going to be the focus for this podcast. I wrote down what my goals were, and by 11/11 of this year, so November 11th of 2022, my goal is to have a full-fledged podcast studio set up in my house, in my apartment, in my living room. And it's going to cost me about $700 for the equipment. But until then, my coach, I love you. This message is for you too. Ranj, thank you so much for helping me get to this point in my career that I am making videos again. I had started out in YouTube land by making gaming videos and recording live streams and stuff like that, but I had never really put myself out there per se. And this is my first attempt at doing so. So Patriot Podcast is it's a culmination of all the dreams and stuff that I have for my own career. So yeah, here we go with that. Hey, I don't know if I can get him in the screen here, but I'd love to get him in the podcast, because that's why I have. Oh, here we go. We'll just go with this. Today's podcast is sponsored by Alpha Bravo Canine. It's probably backward in the video, but anyway, I don't think I'd be here if it wasn't for Jennifer Green of Alpha Bravo Canine. There's many people that I want to give a shout out to. So we'll start out by saying Jennifer Green, who is a mentor. She's a certified dog trainer, service dog trainer. She has been working with behavioral dog, or training dogs to be behaviorally certified, working with veterans who have, specific needs. And so Charlie is a PTSD specifically trained service dog. He is annually certified. And so I have been partnered and paired with Charlie since 2019. He is my best friend. He is a giant pain in the ass, just like I am. So, so yeah, glad to be here. Glad to be figuring life out. I am do a little bit of a brief, I guess, intro. I'm a 38-year-old, recently divorced man I have 5 children, and we had 5 kids in 6 years. And so, you know, during the pandemic, we struggled significantly with finances, which ultimately led to the breakdown of the relationship at an accelerated rate. Um, and so, just like thousands and millions of other people around the globe, a lot of us have gone through some pretty big changes in our life in the last 3 years, and I'm no different. But what does make me different is that I'm going to use um, my experiences as a professional counselor, as an Army veteran, as a father, as a husband, as a service connected disabled veteran with a service dog. I'm going to be highlighting certain aspects of our culture, of our country, and I would say our connection globally with others, using my prior experiences as a highly educated counselor to help with mental health. So let's just talk through the 3 points um, of what I'm going to be highlighting in the upcoming episodes. So number one is going to be discussing um, veterans health, veterans mental health, access to care, quality of care. um, my goal is to be able to at least discuss my experience and what I think could help with veterans healthcare and just take it to that next level. So that's number one. That's a focus of mine for sure. One of my dreams is to start a mental health agency that contracts with the VA to provide a wraparound, comprehensive form of care that um, that had I gotten it for my family, I probably wouldn't be divorced right now and alienated away from my kids. So I'm gonna take that pain. I'm gonna take that the gap that I see in that part of our mental health treatment for veterans, and my goal is to help get that number of 22 veteran suicides a day down to a zero. That's my goal, is to help and to do my part. So that's a long range plan of mine. That's a long range goal, and I'm going to continue to take steps towards it by speaking about it, by speaking open about my experiences. My goal is to be able to connect with others, whether in a mental health field or just to get them on the podcast. That's going to be my goal. Number two is to make this podcast as professional as I can. And by professional, I mean like videos, video quality, the setup of the studio, um, multiple cameras, the mics, and then getting guests in on a regular basis. So right now, I'm living in Southern Illinois, and it's a small farm town community with a lot of tractors. And I think my tractor's sexy, but um, I don't have a tractor. But if I did have a tractor, I would think that that tractor is sexy because I'm learning to talk positively about myself. Ranch, it's all your fault. Why I think my tractor is sexy. But anyway, number three is going to be getting all my social medias and stuff set up. So as soon as I get that stuff set up, I'll be including that in the descriptions of my YouTube videos. Connect all the social medias, whether it's, Instagram. I'm not going to use Twitter. Probably not going to use Facebook. So it'll probably be just YouTube, Instagram. I thought about putting this on different platforms, whether this is Spotify, whether Spotify or what have you, but I'm really drawn to YouTube. So that's going to be my starting point. And my goal is to just get these things done, get a couple podcasts out per week and improve every step of the way, improve every step of the way. If you look at the Joe Rogan experience, it started out with a webcam, a couple guys in a room, and just those guys bullshitting around. So, um, and you see the way that he because he continued to do it, the podcast grew. So the reason why I see this podcast really taking off is because I really see, I have my why. I have my why figured out. I really want to get the heartbeat of this country, and get to the heartbeat of this country by interviewing folks folks from different strokes, you know? So yeah, there it is. Don't want to make this video too long. This podcast is brought to you by Charlie's Chewies, by Alpha Bravo Canine. Oh, Charlie's Chewies. So Charlie's Chewies is my dog company that is in process. I'm one step away from trademark, and I have like 4 months left in my trademarking process to get those. And you have to put like your logo. I think it's like I'm not sure exactly how they would quote that, but because I'm a small business owner, that's why I'm going to be interviewing other small business owners, people who are starting or have already started their own businesses. It'll be like a mastermind group, so we'll get these folks on the podcast. And as this podcast grows, my reach will be able to grow. I want to be able to reach out to folks that are, putting themselves out there and, risking it for the biscuit. As you can see, I've got really high quality dad humor that's been refined over the years. So, but anyway, so Charlie's Chewies. Charlie's Chewies was started last summer in the midst of all this relational discord that happened and the financial fallout that happened afterwards. I've been recovering from that for about a year now. And so yeah, so the dream is still there to have my own dog company, and then use those funds to be able to give back to Alpha Bravo Canine. One of my goals is to help fund a dog studio where she can train more dogs and be able to help more people. I think she's looking for a certain number of acreage. I also want to be able to help develop and get veterans housing. So the folks that are like me last year, after I was going through that, or while I was going through that divorce process, I was homeless for a while, living out of my car for a while, living in transitionary types of housing situations, living with other people for about a year. And so, I know the toll that had taken on my mental health. And now that I have my own apartment, I've worked myself closer to being out of debt, paying off credit cards from decisions that I've made in the past, and living within my means, paying my child support, being a responsible human being. I'm finally in a situation where I feel like I can take more steps towards financial independence. And that's what I hope, that I can use my life to help be of service to other people, using this podcast to be able to reach out an audience that can connect with me personally, my personal experience, and then the experience of the guests that I have eventually coming on this show. So yeah, so that's the end of this podcast. I look forward to recording another one here shortly. Today is what, Thursday? Let's look at the date today. Yeah. So today is Thursday, September 22nd, 2022. Hey, look at that. 2222. And my next recording should be coming up on we'll do one on Monday and see if I can get a guest. I'd love to be able to have a guest speaker on here, and be able to interview them, talk about their life experiences. Again, the types of folks that you're going to see on this podcast are going to be small business owners, the folks that are the heartbeat that make the heartbeat of this country beat. Your everyday workers, your insurance agents, your dentists, your doctors, your nurses, firefighters, police officers, veterans, McDonald's workers, managers, who knows, stuff like that. People who have been working in a certain industry for a period of time that can give us some insight on what it's like to work in their particular field. So yeah, that's my goal. And I will see you guys next Monday. For business inquiries, questions, or comments, send your responses to patriotpawdcast@gmail.com. I'll see you in the next episode.